Sophie, and thank you for talking to us. Sophie, you and I have known each other for many years, particularly working on diversity in corporate leadership, but I've never had anything to do with your work with Prince Harry. So let's just start with the origins of Sentebale. What was the point? What was the aim of setting it up?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Trevor, for having us here on behalf of the entire Sentebale organization, 540 strong. This is an opportunity for us to just set the record straight and also talk about the future of Sentebale. But where did it begin? Sentebale started as a very urgent response to the urgent need for those who were impacted by HIV and AIDS in Lesotho to be taken care of. Prince Harry and Princess thought that they were uniquely placed to respond to the needs of orphans and vulnerable children, and this was in 2006. Lesotho is a very small country that's within South Africa itself. But as you roll on to 2024, the issues in Southern Africa are actually quite different. HIV and AIDS is no longer a death sentence. And so our organization is really looking at those other elements in the ecosystem that affect the health and well-being of young people. And so at Sentebale, we're focused on health, on wealth, and on climate resilience of young people in Lesotho and Botswana.
Okay, over time, it's built to be quite a big outfit. It's a multi-million-dollar outfit, I think. You were on the board for 6 years, and you've been on board more recently. Sophie, let me start with you. When you came back as chair in 2023, what did you think was going wrong?
Now, I'm going to answer this very frankly, but I just want to say normally I wouldn't want to discuss family business in this way in an open forum. But here we are, and I'll do my best to be frank in my disclosure. So when I arrived in July in 2023, of course, the first thing you do is you open the annual report, you look at the board minutes to see what it is that's going on in the organization. When you look at the I did a 7-year historical review of the financials, looking at our costs and looking at our revenue, so income. It was pretty obvious to me that we had lost quite a number of corporate sponsors, we'd lost some families, and we'd lost individuals who were donating to the organization. And there was quite a significant correlation between the time the organization started to see a departure of sort of major organizations and Prince Harry's departure from the UK itself. When you look at the board minutes, though, there is no discussion about what's happening with respect to some of our most significant funders. And then when you discuss with the senior executive team and ask why there isn't a conversation about this, the answer is it's really difficult to have this conversation because the instruction was it's an uncomfortable conversation to have with Prince Harry in the room.
So the central point here is when you look at the risk register of the charity and funding, number one risk is that's Duke of Sussex.
Yes.
Is that your opinion, or?
It is. It is.
Ian, is that what you saw?
Yes, I mean, I think there's something underlying that as well, which is quite interesting. So if you look at how boards of trustees should work, where the public gets their comfort from is that they live in a rules-based governance framework, which in this case is regulated by the Charity Commission. And you're expecting the board to act independently, to support the charitable objects and support the interests of the organisation as a whole.
Welcome back to Meghan and Harry Tales, the channel where we break down the latest news, expose media bias and set the record straight on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I'm Adrian, and today we're tackling the latest attempt by the British media to drag Prince Harry's name through the mud. This time, the attack comes in the form of claims by Dr. Sophie Chandauka, the former chair of a charity linked to Harry. She's accusing him of harassment and bullying at scale, and alleges that the so-called Sussex PR machine was unleashed against her and others. Sounds dramatic, doesn't it? But let's take a step back and look at the facts. The British media, particularly the tabloids, seem to have an insatiable appetite for scandal. This is especially true when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been subject to relentless scrutiny and criticism since their relationship became public. Just when we think the dust has settled, a new wave of accusations emerges, often lacking any substance or evidence. This time, the smear campaign centres around Dr. Sophie Chandauka, who alleges that Prince Harry was involved in some form of harassment and bullying. These claims, however, have not been substantiated with any concrete evidence. There are no official complaints, no lawsuits filed, and no indication that any wrongdoing occurred. It's important to note the timing of these accusations. They conveniently coincide with the release of Spare, Prince Harry's tell-all memoir, which sheds light on the inner workings of the royal family. Could this be a desperate attempt to discredit him and undermine his credibility? The lack of evidence certainly points in that direction. This is not the first time we've seen such tactics employed against the Duke and Duchess. It's a tired and predictable pattern. An accusation is made, amplified by certain media outlets, and then left to fester in the public consciousness, even when proven baseless. Dr. Chandauka's accusations are particularly egregious given the lack of evidence. She has not provided any details about the alleged harassment and bullying, nor has she offered any proof to support her claims. Furthermore, no one else has come forward to corroborate her story. This absence of evidence speaks volumes. If there were any truth to these allegations, one would expect others to come forward with their own accounts. Instead, there is only silence. This silence is deafening. It exposes the hollowness of Dr. Chandauka's accusations and raises serious questions about her motives. It also highlights the irresponsible and unethical behaviour of media outlets that choose to amplify these baseless claims without proper verification. The British press has a long and sordid history of publishing sensationalised stories about the royal family. In this case, they have once again prioritised clicks and views over truth and accuracy. The British media, particularly certain tabloids, bear a heavy responsibility for the perpetuation of these unfounded accusations. They have a platform and a voice that can shape public opinion. Yet, instead of using their influence responsibly, they have chosen to amplify baseless claims without proper verification. This is not journalism. It is gossip-mongering disguised as news. It is a betrayal of the public's trust and a disservice to the principles of ethical reporting. The media has a duty to report the truth, not to spread rumours and innuendo. Furthermore, the timing of these accusations is highly suspect. They coincide with the release of Prince Harry's memoir, which is critical of the royal family and the British press. This suggests that the accusations may be part of a coordinated effort to discredit him and undermine his credibility. The British media has a long history of being hostile towards those who challenge the status quo. They have a vested interest in protecting the monarchy and maintaining the established order. Section 4. PR machines at war, a study in contrasts. Much has been made of the so-called Sussex PR machine, with critics accusing Harry and Meghan of courting media attention. However, a closer look reveals a stark contrast between their approach and that of the royal family. The royal family operates within a system steeped in tradition and control. Their PR strategy relies heavily on carefully curated public appearances, formal statements, and a general reluctance to engage with the media on their own terms. This approach, while effective in maintaining a certain image, can also come across as distant and out of touch. In contrast, Harry and Meghan have opted for a more modern and direct approach. They engage with a wider range of media outlets, including those outside the traditional British press, and are more open about their experiences and perspectives. This approach, while refreshing to some, has also made them targets for criticism from those who prefer the monarchy to remain shrouded in an air of mystique. The irony is that the very same outlets accusing the Sussexes of having a PR machine are the ones constantly churning out negative and often false stories about them. It seems that any attempt by Harry and Meghan to control their own narrative is met with resistance and accusations of manipulation. Harry and Meghan's unstoppable spirit.